Previously on
お前らクソ野郎、俺ら死んだ。
I call him the intoxicated gigantopithecus. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike of a Drunk Yeti. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We've had a piss break. It's still really hot. The sun's gone in, but I'm burning up.
And the cat's questioning life.
Simon's got a topic, go.
So, our topic is related to the weather of today. Thunder. Lightning. I thought, right, let's talk about supernatural shit. And talk more on the subject of horror. Because obviously it's getting a bit dingy, it's getting a bit dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to kick it off with asking, do you believe... actually, let's rewind a little bit. What are you afraid of? Right, we can go down that route.
What, in terms of
just in general? Are you afraid of, like, do you believe in supernatural, like ghosts?
And that's the podcast, everybody. Well done, thank you for going on.
Well, that's kind of killed that one.
Nah, aliens, yes, 100%. But ghosts, no.
Okay, interesting. Carry on.
Would you like me to elaborate?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, aliens, alright, because technically speaking, a piece of bacteria is an alien life form on a different planet, and we've already found that. So aliens do exist. Case closed.
He solved the mystery
I am.
of Area 51 right there.
Maybe you can help us solve the mystery of Bigfoot. We're currently working on a documentary
Yeah,
about
Well, to be
Bigfoot.
to
fair,
get back
being
on
drunk
that,
Yeti, I'll reach out to my other Yeti friends, see if they come across it.
Bigfoot is confirmed. We found Bigfoot.
What a title you
We was about to, bro,
This has been crazy.
Mate.
Within 5
Whirlwind of
seconds.
adventure. We was literally about to explore some caves because basically there was loads of newspaper articles released in this area, and we're like, oh crap, you know, like basically like Times, Daily Mail. It was big papers as well.
We've got it in the video. We've
Yeah.
got that in the video. If you want to learn more about it though, leave this a like and we'll,
Yeah, I
we'll post that.
want to
Yeah.
learn about this.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
We'll
If we hit 5 likes, we're carry on working on the documentary.
Jeez, you're pushing for that,
I
aren't you?
know.
We've only got 3 at the moment, and that's
Yeah.
probably ourselves.
Yeah. Fair enough.
peak times. Supernatural. Do
Basically-
I believe? Right. Yeah. Go.
The whole thing was like I'm an avid horror fan, right? And I do believe in supernatural, or at least I'm open to the thought of it.
Yeah, no, I get you.
And it's one of those things like I've always wanted to say and explore an abandoned or haunted house. And there's certain things like you see people online, they're like, oh, I've done a Ouija board.
Yeah.
So here's a really creepy real life case from one of my
Lay out.
story time lads.
Spread it on the table.
I'm bottling that, right?
Right.
So this is one of my brothers. When he was working like a van company, he had a driver, and the driver was taking me to some place, whatever. And he basically just said this story about this Ouija board, and he was around his mates, and there's these 2 guys, and they're like, look, we don't believe in this shit. This is bullshit. And this guy was like, I'm not gonna do it. He steps outside, and these the other 2 people were carrying on doing it. Anyway, about 20 minutes later, he hears loads of thuds and smashes and crashes in that room, and they both come running out. Like one guy comes out crying, the other guy comes out like wailing a little bit, and he's like, "What the fuck happened?" He said, like he said, go and have a look. And when he walked in there, everything was like moved around, the fireplace is pulled out, and obviously that could have been staged. So this is where it gets really messed up.
It's just a prank, bro.
So, I can't remember the ins and the outs of what was said on the Ouija board or whatever like that. But effectively, what happened over that next year, they kept saying to him, like, mate, I feel like I'm being watched, or I feel like I'm being followed, or like I feel like there's something there, like a presence almost.
Yeah.
And what was really, really fucked up was within 2 years, both of them died. And it was leading up to those moments, they were saying there was more and more of these cases. And they both literally popped their clogs. And it was just, and the only thing that linked them to was this board. And it's probably not that, but it's just the fact that it was interesting. And the way he's told it was a lot better than the way I've told it.
Yeah, no, of course.
Because obviously it's from his experience.
Yeah.
But it gave me like the chills, and it was just like mad. And to give you another story, my brother worked at a Wareham out in London. And this place is notorious for having ghosts or like children to see shit.
Where am I? They got ghosts.
Yeah.
That's
Don't remember
peak,
that-
innit?
Don't remember that being at our one.
Yeah. I just had like foam
That's
pits
an
and then a
advanced-
weirdo in the corner who was like, he was nearly a ghost, but I don't think he was a
Do you
ghost
think
quite
eye
yet.
glass? I'm quite pasty white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you managed with the lights to make me look lighter as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It's because there's one literally right behind you.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
so
Carry on.
he was just oh fuck, that was a cat. I thought you were striking my leg then. I was like, easy up. But he worked at this warehouse and it was just a general cashier, whatever, mixing round rolls. And he would regularly have children coming up to him crying, being like, "There's a man in the middle of the bouncy castle." And he's like, "What the fuck?" And he'll walk over and there'll be no one there, but there'll be kids looking in the middle of this bouncy castle. And he's like, "That's really creepy." And obviously sometimes when you get a bit spooked, you kind of feed the thought of it because you're like a bit intrigued and a bit wanting to know a bit more. And he read up a little bit online, and apparently someone actually like hung themselves in the basement, and there was this other man who was like the co-owner or whatever, and he was involved in the kitchen or something like that. Probably wasn't the kitchen, but anyway, there was two things in there apparently. And one evening, Pete had to put something away in the furthest room. So you'd have to go through like a main door, and then a gate, and then a door, just to put something in this room. And this room was like, it had a really weird presence. It would make you feel a bit uneasy, a bit cold, and a bit whatever the fuck you feel, you know, when you feel a bit spooked. He goes through all of these doors, drops something off, shuts and locks every single door, and as he walks out that third door and walks on, all the doors are open again, like wide open. And he's not the type of person to, I mean, you guys know he's not the type of person to lie about this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he was a bit spooked, and so he spoke to his mate who was working there, and this other guy was this bloke who literally didn't give a fuck. He didn't believe in it, deadpan.
Yeah.
And when Pete read up to it about being in the basement, his mate sort of said to him like, "Oh, why don't we go down there and we'll start calling out her name?" And obviously that's a great idea. Genius, mate. And anyway, Pete actually has a recording. I've tried looking for this recording for so long because he sent it to me a long time ago. If not, he had it on his phone. Couldn't find it, otherwise I'd insert it. But effectively what happened, it was at the top of the...
Carry on. Carry on.
Having a serious conversation.
I'm in.
Child, mate.
Cool.
Anyway, one evening after the whole place is closed, it was just them two. As far as I'm aware, there was just the two of them. And the other guy was like, "Look, I'm going to go down in the basement, I'm going to call out a name and see what happens." And he was like, "Come with me." And my brother was like, "No, I'm not going to come down." And he gave him his phone, and the recording has at the top of the staircase, and it's recording, and then when he goes in, there's the audio, it carries on recording, but there's no visuals, it's just black, and there's no sound. And where it gets really weird is basically he goes down there and it's for about like 10 sort of seconds, and then he runs out and the camera comes out and he runs out crying and screaming. And he basically said that he saw something lunge at him or run at him, this weird like figure in the basement. And I just thought, that's creepy.
That is creepy.
So, back to the first story, the Ouija board. The Ouija board was created as a board game by a games company. So, I don't necessarily think, Ouija board thing is like,
It was people that made Monopoly, actually.
Yeah, I think the problem is if you're trying to like, you know, I think it's in anything, you don't have to have that specific piece of equipment to do it. And I personally don't believe in it, but I understand that as humans, even the biggest cynic will have some doubts.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then it feeds in and it grows and it grows, and then when you're on your own, like, it grows even more. Like, I'm not scared of ghosts or stuff like that, but when I'm walking down the street and it's night, I'm scared man's gonna get shot.
Yeah.
Round one, fight!
And that's why I don't like horror films as such. For me, the scariest horror film would be Psycho, Hitchcock Psycho. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's not a horror, it's a thriller." Well, okay, I accept that. But the point is that could be real.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When that's layered in reality, once you get into kind of the paranormal stuff, it's just something with it doesn't click. I'm just kind of.
I think for me, what it was is that I grew up in a more like a Christian background, and so I was from a young age.
so
I kind of believed in that. I don't necessarily believe in it now. I'm kind of almost like an agnostic atheist in that sort of respect, where I'm on the fence. I'm open to it, but there's no real evidence as such.
Yeah.
But for me, I find it really intriguing because I guess it's like the thought of if there was an alien, like, you know,
Alien's a separate thing. Like, you think
But
how
what I mean though is,
big, like the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it would be arrogant to think we are the only ones. However, whether they're bipedal and can speak and have languages and have planes and all that shit, no, I don't.
Planes.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Do you know what a spaceship?
Yeah.
All right. Nah, probably not. They're probably doing their own thing, you know.
Just the alien EasyJet.
Can you edit one across the screen? But that's more probable. When it's ghosts, I guess I just can't. I can't see it. Like, because you never hear of a nice ghost story.
No.
Oh yeah, there was a ghost. Me and him just had a cup of tea whilst watching the football. You never hear that.
Yeah. Took down the Ouija board
It's
and Scrabble.
Yeah.
We actually played chess.
Yeah.
I checkmate him. So.
But you never hear that.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, spooky, and that's probably that we've drilled into ourselves through stories throughout time, through this being something that a question that has pulled on everybody at some point has thought about it and has looked into it.
Are like 99% of ghosts always like Victorian era and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's never a ghost that like someone died last week.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh look, it's Dave. Like, you know what I mean? It's always some guy that's got like the old school gear and stuff.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So I can't. I don't know. I guess I'm open to it, but I've never had an experience like that. So
I'm always open to stuff. Like I never outright say no, that's not possible at all.
Yeah.
Like if you can give me proof, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, I mean you proved it. But
Here's something I found out the other day. There's no scientific fact. There's only mathematical facts. So gravity, you say, the law of gravity. So whatever it is, like the mass and stuff.
yeah,
It's still only just a theory. It's not a
it's
fact,
still a
because
theory,
there's too many variables. So we used to think water only boiled at 100 degrees, but they've now managed to get it to boiling point at 200 degrees. Because the amount of variables there are in the universe, you can't have a scientific fact.
Mad.
I saw someone deep.
That's
fry
mad,
water.
isn't it?
That is mad.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Deboiled water.
No, deep fry water.
Oh, I was like, what?
Deep boiled
Like,
water.
they
Deboiled
managed to deep fry
Put it in the
water,
fridge,
like.
mate. How do you deep fry it?
I don't know. I watched the video. It just confused me so much. It's mental.
Brilliant.
But I guess
It
it's like
Sick.
less dense, isn't it? So it floats on top. But I don't know how.
Yeah,
Bro,
just YouTube it after.
yeah,
it's
it's
weird.
weird.
That's intense, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's intense. Yeah, I'd say just come up to the horror thing. Like, no.
Bit off topic.
digress.
No, it's fine. We always digress
Yeah.
anyway. Like,
Yeah,
it
true.
wouldn't be our chat if it didn't happen. To me, I just thought I'd bring it up because
That's a ghost! It's proven!
The
Chandler scratched him.
Oh my god!
Can I have another water?
They don't have water. That's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Can you like
Come
deep boil
on,
it as
let's
well?
be
I did this really like fun thing in Scotland when I went up to visit a couple of years back, and you basically like
It's ghosts!
Scotland's very big on the superstition front, and they have like underground ghost tours, and they're so much fun. Even like
What kind of things are they like that? They just walk around just telling you ghost stories in a cave.
yeah, but you start on like the mainland, then you go through to like sewers, then you go even further down. No, not literal sewers, but like shit in the ground where you just go through.
Yes. The stairs, and then up the stairs we go until we come to.
Tunnels.
Tunnels, yeah.
I was just looking for that word, you know. And it's so much fun going down there because they tell you all these stories, and then you just have one person who's just so hyper believes it.
Yeah.
What film would you say has captured horror the best? Because I don't really watch them. I'm not into it.
I think that just depends on the viewer.
Yeah.
Because you
Well,
can't
it's
say.
the type of horror, isn't it? Because you've got
Yeah. But what do you think universally? Like, because everyone says The Exorcist is like.
I haven't even watched
the
that
one.
actually.
No, I haven't. But what do you? Because you're a connoisseur.
The thing is, mate, I don't really have one that I really like. I can tell you one that I like that's stylized. I don't
Right.
think it's the scariest. And the name of it is... it's a Spanish horror.
Oh, Veronica.
Yeah,
I think,
Veronica.
isn't it?
I like it because it's stylized. It has basically it's shot well. It's got great music, composed. It's actually got a good narrative. And I always find foreign horror better because you know, say it's like English or American, you sometimes have really shitty accents. But I find with other languages, you have to really concentrate and read. And because you concentrate and read, you're really in it.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like that film, but I don't think it's that scary.
Right.
Being honest, mate, I've watched so many. I haven't really enjoyed them that much.
There's so many mediocre horror films. It's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
the genre.
Every time I go into a
every
horror
action film is mediocre.
The thing is,
And
like, when you go
every
to a horror
horror
film,
film.
you know exactly what to expect. And
Yeah.
like once you watch enough, you know exactly when the jump scares are coming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just kind of ruins the film because you're like, oh, there's a jump scare coming.
That's
It's
why I like
oh.
Psycho though, because I don't think there's
I like
jump
Psycho.
scares. There's like maybe one, but the whole thing's just for build up.
Yeah,
And the whole thing, it's all psychological.
Yeah, no,
You're all like,
exactly, yeah.
what is going on? What is going on? And then
Yeah.
you have a crescendo at the end of the reveal of whatever. But
To be fair though, there's the stabby fucking scene.
yeah,
That actually, like, I've watched it so many times, but it's still like, for some reason, it does something to me. I'm like, a bit like, geez.
Well, we were
like,
talking about this. We recorded something, but it's not going to go out. But I was talking about Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And you know the scene where he's got to hit the pole at 88 miles an hour as the lightning strikes when he's going. I still get tense.
Yeah.
I
There
still
are
get
very few
tense to
films
this
that I
day.
can rewatch and be like in that same moment of the first time I
Yeah.
watch it. And the thing that I don't understand as well, because in films, you know, like first of all, you know it's fake.
Yeah.
And like secondly, if it's like a classic Hollywood one, you know exactly what's actually going to happen. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
going to be a happy ending, blah blah blah. But you still get that feeling of tenseness. I don't know why.
So the Greeks in theatre, everyone knew the ending. They were not like spoilers weren't a thing. You
Yeah.
knew the ending, but it was about going on the cathartic journey through it and learning through it. So you'd have like a festival, and I think it was only men who could go, as it like always has been in history. But they would go, and that's all you'd. Actually, I think that was only comedies only men could go to, but I think the other was open to everyone, and it was a learning experience, which I guess film was, and it's kind of drifted now into let's make explosions and a load of money. But yeah, those films when like Psycho, that scene, like Back to the Future, that scene, when they can make you still feel that after like 3 watches.
Yeah. There's one
They're
film
great.
that was done by a Spanish director. And it's called Buried. I don't know if you watched it.
No.
That is one of the most intense films I've ever watched in my life. I've seen it 3 times now. Still gets me the same every time, and the
Really?
whole film is just a guy in a box.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds in a box.
It is so like
Yeah.
intense, and like the ending as well.
Yeah.
Just complete.
They
drop.
filmed it over like I think it was like 3 weeks to do the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just a guy in a box.
Yeah.
But they had
The
to
same
have
as like Look as well. That was filmed in like a few weeks.
they had to have like I think it was 13 boxes, coffins to do it.
Yeah.
And
It's so intense. So
Yeah.
intense. I would like. That's one film that I'd recommend like to anyone. Like it's insane.
You stole our last question.
we've already asked it. We're just it's in somewhere.
Ask
fucking
me
about
again.
We will edit this together somehow,
Yeah.
like loosely.
On the topic of paranormal stuff though,
Yeah.
because I'm going to have to go soon. The thing that I've had closest to like a paranormal like experience is sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
That is
I've never had it,
fucking
but I think I
terrifying.
have.
I think I've had it twice now. The first time was the worst, especially when I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was in Miami, and I think what happened was someone shut the door or something, like going to the toilet or whatever in like a different room, and that kind of woke me up, but not completely. And then I saw like a light on outside, and I was like, I thought someone was knocking on my door, so I was like trying to say come in, but I couldn't speak, I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything, and I was like actually like what is actually going on? Like this is horrible. And then I just saw this like thing like coming towards me, and like it just went black, and like it was so horrible, and like, I just didn't
See,
sleep
there's
the
a
rest of that
thing
night.
in Veronica is a really, really creepy bit, which is very much sleep paralysis based.
Yeah.
And it's where she's sleeping and she's looking up, and they do it really well.
I would guess if it's sleep paralysis, you would be sleeping, Simon. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't know for sure, but I'm just gonna.
I said it's like sleep paralysis.
Okay, no, carry on. Sorry.
It's not
carry
about
on. Carry on.
that.
Please, carry on.
You're gonna pipe down, boy.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
I'm editing this whole bit out. The whole thing is, she's basically getting possessed, right? Because she did a Ouija board on an eclipse night to try and contact her dad. Whatever reason she wanted to do it on that night.
Yeah.
And there's this thing that keeps coming out towards her, keeps trying to hunt her. It's a demon sort of thing. Anyway, she's lying in the bed, she's looking up, and it's almost switching between like real life and dreaming away. And the camera's actually facing directly up, and you've got this like light she holds up, and this face just kind of like leans over, and it just gets closer and closer, and then it's almost like these hands come out out of the bed and sort of like hold her down, and she tries calling for help but can't. Yeah. And then it starts going down her throat.
Oh really?
And it's like, that's just so relatable with like, because basically with.
Yeah, it was so relatable. Being held down, I was being shoved down your throat. That sounds like you, mate.
Like relatable every Sunday. But
always have to butt end it.
Apparently, if you're laying on your back and you have sleep paralysis, you feel like a pressure on your chest. I was laying on my side, so I didn't get
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Was that
I've done my research. I've done my research.
I was about to say that because I've had different things related to that with diabetes. I've had the weirdest hallucinations. On a lighter note, this one time I woke up, my sugars were really high. When you're high, you drink a hell of a lot. And I looked to my left, and there's this big ass glass of water, so I downed it. I was like, oh great, but then I was like, I'm still really thirsty. So I was like, great, I wake up. I went downstairs. I was really dazed. I opened up the kitchen door, thought I saw something, but it was my cat. It was my really fat black and white one, Harvey. And anyway, I went back upstairs and I was like, where's my glass of water? Turns out, it's really gross, but I basically drank a lampshade worth of dead animals, of dead insects, just like spiders, flies, and had a load of them, and I just started gagging them.
What? I'm out, man.